Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Gdansk, and I don't really see this one being played all that often. Let me know in the comments down below why you might think that is, but I want to talk a little bit about why I think Gdansk doesn't see as much play. As I was initially thinking, when this ship came out, I thought it was busted. I thought straight up this ship was going to be the most meta-defining DD, it was going to be miserable to play against, and we'd see them everywhere. And that has not at all panned out. That is not what we've experienced. This ship is a little bit rare to find in the matchmaker. It's not the least played ship or anything like that, but it doesn't have nearly the games played that I would have thought, considering what this ship has. I've got a really insane game here to show you guys today where Gdansk just firing on all cylinders. This ship is going to carry a lot of the load this game. Huge amounts of damage, cap control, hunting destroyers, farming battleships, and spotting for the team. It's really, really powerful, and I think this game is going to be a great example of why. But if you haven't seen this ship before, and maybe you're wondering why I'm so shocked that this ship hasn't seen as much play, you are basically a Mogador, which is the tier 9 French DD, with a permanent reload booster. Not quite. The Mogador with reload booster is something like 240,000 DPM with its HE, whereas this one has 227,000 HE DPM. So very close to permanent reload booster Mogador at tier 10 with a 9-kilometer radar. And you get a smoke! Like, that sounds disgusting. These guns are still those nice 139 millimeters. Amazing shell velocity here. The HE is all we have, so no AP, but they do have a decent fire chance at 10%, and it's very easy to land shells with this thing. That third turret is also a 360-degree turret, which is really, really nice to have. So this ship is going to be amazing at the long-range HE spam into battleships. If you get close or you get into trouble, you just pop smoke, and you can farm from there very, very easily. You get 10-kilometer torpedoes still that have low damage at 11,200, but they go 86 knots. Like, this ship basically has everything, is what it seems like. No heal, I guess. But what really holds this ship back is that it dies very quickly. And I think that's the main reason that we don't see this destroyer quite as much, is just that it's very hard to play, making use of all these tools without just dying. The other thing might be that the grind is a little awkward with some of the mid-tier ships, the tier 9, the tier 8, feeling a little bit different, and maybe not quite as powerful as the Gdansk does at tier 10. And still very easy to die in some of those ships as well. They're very big ships, and one of the things that makes the French DDs so difficult to kill is their saturation. So the components of the ship just have less HP in them, so that anytime you take hits to a already saturated part of the ship, it's going to deal so much less damage. And the French saturation accelerates that compared to a standard ship. And that's why on low HP, you seem to do like 10%, 5% shell damage sometimes. It feels a little ridiculous to be trying to kill some of those French DDs with HE. And Gdansk does not have that. So that's where, even though this ship has 27,900 HP with this build, it's dying much, much quicker than a lot of those French DDs. I was a little worried about Holland Torps here, by the way. Decide to not push forward, but he didn't actually torp at me. But we're still able to pop a smoke and farm. So even though we are going to die a little bit quicker, you still have a smoke to farm out of, man. You don't have to do the open water gunboat thing. And that 9-kilometer radar, man, is so, so useful. And maybe that's another reason, is that it's only 10-second action time on this radar. So a little bit hard to make use of. 60-second cooldown, though. The way I like to think of this radar is it allows me to not take concealment and not be at a spotting disadvantage to a lot of the other destroyers at tier 10. It gives me the ability to, when I get spotted, spot that ship back. Even if I'm not going to kill them with that radar, it tells me exactly where that ship is, where it's going, what ship it is, how I can fight it. If it's a gunboat DD, then I can be a little cautious and maybe not fully charge at them. But if it's a torp boat DD and they don't have a lot of support, I can just run straight towards them because now I know exactly where they're at. So that's kind of how I think of this radar. It's not the one to just outright kill a destroyer, but it's amazing for information. And that's one of the things that a lot of gunboat DDs lack, is gaining that information. They get outspotted and they don't always have the option to know exactly where that ship is that's spotting them. So I think it's very powerful, although the utility is maybe not quite as strong as maybe the small end or Ragnar radars that allow you to maybe outright kill a destroyer. And the other area of the game where I thought this ship would be a very powerful tool is in competitive. I don't really play competitive at all anymore, but thinking about this radar, the information gathering, the sheer volume of gunpowder here with a smoke screen, I thought in competitive this thing would be absolutely insane, and yet I don't think that's what's played out. I think really with competitive, the level of focus fire that a lot of good teams have, they can just kill a Gdansk very easily, and playing the Gdansk in competitive might be one of the hardest roles. I don't know for sure though, so those of you that play more competitive, let me know in the comments down below, but I don't think it's been that impactful in competitive either, even though that radar and gunpowder is very strong. It just dies very quickly, so whoever's playing the Gdansk has a very, very difficult role in an already difficult class to play in competitive. Destroyer is very strong, and so teams want to focus them out already. Okay, specifically with this game, this is a situation where I would usually cut this footage out, but I have to know, what do you guys make of this? I'm undetected, last known position was back with my Vermont, and I was facing the enemy spawn here. So, where did these torps come from, okay? I have not been spotted. I'm torping at this Shima. He has no idea where I'm at. I'm torping at where he was. He's going south, probably to go torp our Vermont. Where do these torps come from? There's no RPF. I was looking at this footage for a while, man, just going back, trying to think of, would I ever launch these torpedoes? There's nothing behind me either. There's no, like, battleship or cruiser in the sea. I don't know. Very strange. Very, very strange. I guess just next level intuition from this Shimakaze player. Crazy stuff. But we managed to not eat those torpedoes. And that brings me on to potentially another downside of Gdansk. These gun angles, they're so bad. It's like GK gun angles, I think, where you have to show an immense amount of broadside. It's like 43 degrees, 44 degrees, depending on if you're looking forward or back. And that means that a ship without those fancy French saturation mechanics, giving that much broadside, you're going to eat so much damage if you're trying to be greedy and using all of your gunpowder, which you probably want to do because that's a very strong element of this ship. So again, coming back to, it's a hard ship to play, very easy to die, but has very, very powerful utility that should make it on paper just almost overpowered. Now we get to farm this Ohio. Again, that DPM is just so nice to have. Just out of a smoke, very easy to burn down battleships here. You got amazing range as well with these guns. I'm not even going the full range build. I do believe I have AFT or whatever the commander skill is for it. Give it a little bit of extra range because it starts with 12. I think I have over 14 here. There's our Confederate, feels pretty good. Always be maneuvering in your smoke because people do blind fire. And, well, I'm sure I'll make a video about it eventually, but there's some pretty insane mods in this game. One of them is the green circle around that Ohio, but the other one is these little smoke puffs. Notice in the smoke next to my ship here, if I zoom out, yeah, towards the back of the screen there, there's a little smoke icon, which tells you the exact center of smoke screens. It makes blind firing very, very easy. Totally legal mod. The green circle there on that Ohio turns into a red circle if it's reversing, and how full that circle is the speed they're going. And it updates in real time as they're accelerating or slowing down. To me, these seem a little bit cheater mods. Navigator in the bottom left there, also debatably a cheater mod as well. These things have been in the game for a while, some of them especially, like Navigator, but these acceleration mods are a little bit newer, these smoke mods a little bit newer than that. And yet they've been in Mod Station, they're in the official mod pack, so I'm gonna use them now. But let me know what you think about them in the comments below as well. I think some of them go a little too far. I'm not someone to say this game should be totally vanilla, because I think there's some very useful mods. Like, I think score timer should just straight up be in the game. That's the timer there at the top that tells you which team is going to win based on the points and caps right now. And it also takes into account when the game will end, the timer left on the battle. Very good mod, I think should just be in the game as an option to all players. It allows you to make decisions in the late game, which is just the best part of the game in my opinion. So that's it on mods. Now I'm going to die. This Cassard here gets a nice hit in, kills our engine, which I haven't talked about, but modules die very quickly on this ship. I repair it because I need to get out of here, and he gets my engine again. And that allows the Monty to get a really nice shot into me. Double fire permanent. And, well, if we don't take much more damage, maybe I could live. But yeah, I was on 12 or 13,000 HP there, and we're pretty much on 0 now so quickly. One misstep and you're dead. I think that really is what sums up Gdansk. Extremely powerful, but very, very difficult to play. Now that's a game where we got 231,000 damage, 1.8 million potential damage, and 100,000 spotting damage. 100k spotting damage in a gunboat DD like that feels pretty good. We even used all our smokes and still managed to spot for the team. Getting into some good positions, I suppose. So nice little comeback there if you were keeping track of the score in-game, the ships killed. It wasn't looking so good for our team there for a little bit. 90k in fires too. Feels good, man. And surprisingly, this has been my first game playing Gdansk in months. Just happened to get an amazing game for you, but I myself don't often play this ship, so it's very challenging to play, I think, is what this thing comes down to. But I was pretty happy to get a game of that quality to show you guys this ship again, because it's been a little while. Now, also, I haven't played this ship very much recently too, so this build might not be the most optimal, but this is what I was running on it. Mostly going for a gun build here, and yeah, surveillance mod getting us 12 whole seconds of radar, an extra 2 seconds. But honestly, might be worth going engine room protection or maybe even engine boost. The 2 seconds of radar might not be the most useful there. I guess it does give you 2 seconds on the back end, which means the delay that your teammates have. You know, radar gives, I think, a 6-second delay before all the teammates can see the ship. But in that first 6 seconds, only the person radaring gets to see the ship being radared. So maybe that's useful enough in a team play setting. You know, if you got some div mates or something like that. Certainly helped us against that Shima there, where our Vermont managed to finish off that Shima for me. But engine boost too could be an option. It is only an 8%, just a standard engine boost, but does make it a little easier for this ship to stay alive, since it can get going pretty quick. And the build on the commander looks a little bit like this. Very, very, very greedy build. No concealment. And that's where, at least in random battles, I can very comfortably get away with this. Maybe in ranked, I would consider conceal. I mean, that radar just counters the concealment DDs, man, just so quickly. You know exactly where they are, what they are, where they're going. So you don't, I don't know, do you really need concealment? It's tough. And the radar comes back in 60 seconds. Like, it's a really, really fast cooldown on that radar. So it's not like you're going to get caught without it for the most part, unless you use all of them. So taking Fearless Brawler, taking Main Battery and AA Specialist, but no Superintendent. If you're having a bit of trouble with this ship, you're finding you're dying a lot, I would actually recommend removing Fearless Brawler and taking Concealment, and removing Main Battery and AA Specialist and taking Superintendent. That would be a much better build to help you stay alive. It's going to give you 1 extra smoke, allowing you to use them a little more liberally. You don't have to save them for that optimal moment, and you feel like you can just use them and not like you're going to run out of them towards the end of the game as quickly. And then Fearless Brawler for Concealment just makes the ship more comfortable to play if you're not as good at map awareness, that kind of thing, knowing where DDs are. Just gives you more room to work with between your detection and your main gun range. 3.1 second reload, which gets even quicker when Fearless Brawler is active. The DPM is rather nuts with this thing. But it's big. It is a big ship and does not have that French saturation, so it does take a lot of damage, and you saw I almost died there. So close to death. And I think I'm pretty okay at this ship, but even then, from nearly half HP to dead in a couple seconds there, just one misstep, and it all goes so poorly. So that's why I think this ship doesn't get played too much. Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below about this one. But I think that's about it for this video. I guess also let me know what you think about mods. I think I'll do a video on them in a little bit. No plans really yet for it, but some of these mods that have been out for a little bit now, I'm just going to run them because they're obviously fine on Wargaming's end, even if I would consider them going a little too far. May as well use them because most people are going to be using them as well. At least that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And should I do more of that fast forwarding thing like I did instead of cutting out bits? I don't know. Kind of an editing decision on the back end here towards the end of this video. Let me know. I might experiment with that a little bit more too. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.